guys, welcome back to the Cantina. It's Stephanie, your friendly neighborhood bartender. Please remember you haven't subscribed. Subscribe, hit that bell so you know when I upload more content. Hit those likes, because the more likes I get, the more my video gets seen, and you get notifications. And share away here, we share away for little Star Wars. And I hope you enjoy the upcoming video. Guys, welcome back to the Cantina. This is Stephanie, your friendly neighborhood barkeep, bar manager, wrangler of bookies. Pull up a chair, pull up a bar stool, grab some lunch. We got some interesting stuff to talk about. So, as you guys know, I'm actually doing a fanfic about the Han Solo origin story. And once it's done and it's in its final draft, I'm going to try to turn it into a movie script. Hopefully, maybe even someday see it either as an animated fan film or a live-acted fan film, because I want to prove these people wrong. And I'm going to show them how you do Han Solo and how you do Star Wars right. But anyway, enough of that. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it when it gets close to being done. So, Rebellibrarian, if you're on Twitter, very much out there, this girl talks about Star Wars in a very intelligent, well-read way, very educated way. She knows what she's talking about. And she started talking about the whole dumb idea, the fans getting upset at George Lucas because, Han shot first. Well, first off, that proves you people don't know who Han Solo actually is supposed to be modeled after. I've talked about this before, but let me remind you. George Lucas grew up at a time when a guy named John Wayne was playing in Westerns. John Wayne never, ever, ever, ever shot first, and never shot an enemy in the back. Han Solo is sort of fashioned after him. Now, what's interesting to me is that there's a quote out there from George Lucas talking about Telly Savalas' Kojak and Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry, and saying that kids at the time, back in the early 70s, mid-70s, didn't have any imagination anymore. They all wanted to be these callous, sort of heartless, I guess, anti-heroes, if you could really look at them that way. But he grew up with John Wayne. And John Wayne, as a man, as an actor, the characters he played always had an element of decency to them. There was always more to what they seemed. Case in point, in The Searchers, Ethan. That character, despite where he was, what he was doing, the fact that he was hunting Indians and trying to rescue kidnapped girls from the Comanche, and he was very cold about it. There was a real reason why he did things. All right. Other characters that John Wayne played all throughout his career. Very storied, 50-year career in Hollywood. Okay. Give you a little side note, because this is interesting trivia. Y'all remember Wyatt Earp? Yes, SJWs and people who don't know who the hell Wyatt Earp was. Wyatt Earp wasn't a fictional character. Wyatt Earp really did exist. And Wyatt Earp did fight at Tombstone at the gunfight at the OK Corral. His brother, Morgan, was killed by one of their enemies. And Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and a few other people did go off on a vendetta ride and pretty much laid waste to the people who murdered Morgan. It's true. Wyatt Earp ended up in Hollywood. He met actors like Tom Mix, etc., etc. And here's something else. He met a very young John Wayne. So if you ever watch a John Wayne movie, you ever see him walking that amble, you know who taught him that? Wyatt Earp. A little bit of trivia, knowledge, throwing down the knowledge from me to you. So Rebellibrarian was talking about the bullshit Han shot first thing. And George Lucas, this is the tweet. George Lucas never meant Han Solo to be a cold-blooded killer, which if he shot first would have been. He didn't change anything in the cantina scene in 1997. He was forced to bash viewers over the head with Han's innocence due to the fanboy misinterpretation of the scene. Here's how Obi-Wan described Han. I think this was in the 1981 A New Hope radio drama. I'll continue the next tweet. This is Obi-Wan speaking. There is something more to Solo than meets the eye. I sense he is just not another Corellian smuggler or minor outlaw. He wishes people to think he is something other than what he actually is. While he puts up a callous front, I suspect the substance there is quite a different thing. So, the idea that Han shot first doesn't fit with the maker's idea of who the character was. Because remember, the character Han Solo is fashioned after John Wayne's cowboy characters, gunfighter characters, etc. And I'll tell you something else what's really interesting. I really honestly think a lot of John Wayne's attitudes about who each character he was playing from Stagecoach, which was the first movie he was ever in, to the last one, The Shootist, were always fashioned after Wyatt Earp's advice. Okay, so you've got kind of a linear thing going through here now. You've got probably the most famous lawman gunfighter in the Old West, whose, legend is a legend, and the reality doesn't necessarily jive, but still, give the guy his legend, okay? I mean, he doesn't deserve to be deconstructed. All right, you got Wyatt Earp, who meets a young John Wayne. You got a little boy named George Lucas watching John Wayne westerns at the theaters when he was a kid, and later when they first got TV, he probably saw him all the time. So he's thinking about what kind of a guy should this Han Solo character be, and he looks back on the westerns that he saw, John Wayne's characters, Gary Cooper's maybe, several other, and he came up with this character. Okay, now I've added Clint Eastwood's Man with No Name, but really when you think about it, I was wrong there. Han is more of the John Wayne Western type hero. Then add the Arthurian legend Lancelot de Lac. Okay, then you have Han Solo. And you could even add a little bit of Han and the GIs that John Wayne played. The Sands of Iwo Jima. All right. There's a hardness there, but it's there as a shield. Okay. How do we know this? Go back, watch The Empire Strikes Back. No, go back and watch A New Hope. I want the money. I want to be paid. I want to get out of here. This is a suicide mission. To going back and saving Luke's ass. Okay, and the rebellion. All right. Who's the real hero in A New Hope? Is it Luke or Han? Are they both equals in this? The last scene, throne room scene, when they receive their medals, they're both standing on equal platforms. All right. Empire Strikes Back. Han becomes Luke's protector. When Luke fails to show up at Echo Base, it's getting cold. The speeders aren't ready. Han risks his life to go get his friend. Okay, the cold, callous side that so many people think Han Solo has, it does not exist. That is a shield. There are people out there who can't discern, and I think it might be part of the digital age. Maybe it's because they're just plain stupid, but they can't discern the mask he wears to protect himself emotionally and the man inside. Okay, go back to what Obi-Wan said about him. There's more to Captain Solo than what we see. Okay, so Han goes, rescues Luke, risks his life, and then when Echo Base is under attack, gets Leia out before Either she gets buried in an avalanche or captured by Vader. And at the end of the movie, he basically sacrifices himself for Leia and Chewie and is given over to the bounty hunter. Now, Boba Fett could have just dragged him off, which I think it'd be very interesting for Boba Fett to have Solo very much alive in the hold and very much aware, because it kind of makes you wonder what would have happened. Because you got a very crafty guy who's not stupid, okay? But we know what happened, the Carbonite. So we go back to Return of the Jedi. Han is the one that then needs rescuing. This is also elementary. I've said this before. Han is the one that needs rescuing. Luke and Leia, Lando, who's now repentant from being the traitor, and Chewie go to Jabba's palace, infiltrate to get Han out. They're captured again, but Leia does lift Han out of the Carbonite, which is basically, you can look at it as a form of death. So the last face he sees is Leia's. The first person he encountered is Leia. They're rescued. Now, let's go back to A New Hope. Let's go back between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. 3 years have passed between A New Hope and Empire. 3 big years. Han, in those 3 years, stuck with the rebellion. You know, the rebellion he said was a suicide mission, and he didn't want anything to do with it. Just pay me my money, I'm leaving. Why? Leia. That's the only reason. Why? Watch the end of A New Hope. He's not marching up to get his medal. He's marching up for Leia. Okay? That wink at the end, that is a clue as to what's going to happen in Empire. Okay? So what does he do in Return of the Jedi? He had been all but committed to the Empire anyway. He'd been all but committed to Leia's surrogate father, as I've talked about before, what the rebellion sort of represents. Okay? In Leia's world, it's her surrogate father. He already fought in the service of her surrogate father. So now he fully embraces what he was destined to do by committing to the rebellion for her. Okay? The mask is gone. We see Han Solo as who he is. He might be cocky, he might be arrogant, he might be egotistical and conceited. And trust me, he has earned every right to be that way. But he also proves himself to be a man of virtue, a man who's rediscovered his faith in other humans, a man capable of love and being loved, and a man whose sense of decency is coming outward again. All right, this is basically the kid who wanted to go to the academy to learn fighters, to lead men into battle. And what's really interesting to me is he finally gets to do that when they go after the shield generator. Now think about that. But anyway, so did he shoot first? Going back to what Rebellibrarian posted. He shot. He and Greedo basically shot at the same time. And interestingly enough, point blank gunfights, you miss all the time. And real ones, there are plenty of cop videos seeing outlaws and cops shooting at each other. They're 2 feet away from each other, and neither side can hit the broad end of a barn. All right? So, Greedo missing is not such a shock. So anyway, I'm going to read this and I'm going to let you go. Yep, I just got to the bit in the radio drama where Han laughs and tells Chewie this is about Greedo. He was dumb enough to relax for a second. I hope they throw him a nice funeral. The whole Mos Eisley sequence is classic Western gunslingers. That's Han Solo in a nutshell. Classic Western gunslinger. And again, Han shooting first and fans being upset either way. You know, that's not really what happened. I mean, even in the changed version, Lucas really didn't change it much. Okay, so this is Steph sending out Zero on the Galaxy, Zero on the Cantina. Please remember to tip the Wookiee bartenders 20%. No droids, no bunny hunters, no Raylos. And no fights in the cantina, no gunfights. You take this shit outside. See you on the Galaxy Scoundrels. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please remember, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Hit that bell so you know when I upload more content. Hit those like buttons again. Remember, if you hit the like button, you'll get notifications, and then I won't be getting people going, I'm not getting notifications. Also, please remember to share away here. We share away here for love Star Wars. And upcoming video will likely be reading Raylo with stuff. Enjoy. I'll see you later, guys. See you around the Galaxy Scoundrels.